Life is about relationship for me. A relationship with real integrity, as much integrity as I can muster within my own frail self. Integrity with myself, with friends, with a wife that I don't have, children I don't have yet. Hopefully I have them. But the idea for me would be to be known for truly loving in the best way I can and allowing myself to be truly loved. You know, I guess if this was the end of my life, looking back, and if I had any regrets, I guess the regrets would be not having really lived, not having really lived in, you know, if your life is like an empty glove, not having filled the glove, and the fingers kind of half, you know, bent. And what does that represent? I guess it sounds like, I don't know if you've seen Spinal Tap, but I feel like I'm at the conclusion of Spinal Tap movie. But I'm trying to be as honest as I can. And I guess. If life is like an empty glove, and those 5 fingers represent things, the bent fingers would be recoiling from love, fear of failure. I mean, I'm a painter, so I would fear making the statements I really want to make, and diluting them. So there are bent fingers in the glove, and I would hate to look back and think I hadn't really pulled it on.
It's becoming vulnerable to stick your hand.
I think so. I think it is. And also I think I doubt, perhaps the danger would be to doubt my own beliefs. And so I kind of put my hand in and then think, oh, do I really believe that? Am I crazy to believe that? Yeah. Well, I guess the most important question I was asked, I think ever, was, do people know that you're a fraud yet? On the basis that the question was really, don't live a fraudulent life. Live a life that is really who you are, and don't fear that. Be who you are. So find out who you are and live it, and don't be ashamed of it. Coupled with faith, what the beauty of faith is that who you really are is with God. I think, conversely, I think God brings you to who you really are, in my experience, however awkward and painful and ugly that is. And be free in that, and if people don't like it, then... I guess another legacy would be that in spite of all our shit and crap and failings, and that if I could be part of the suggestion that in spite of those things that they were loved, as people, by an unseen God, I think that would be amazing to leave behind, and not in a religious sense or a bullshit sense, but in a real sense of, you know, in spite of what I think of myself or the good and the bad, if I could be part of a legacy that said, you know what, you're all right and you're loved and you're accepted, so accept yourself. I'm a painter and a sculptor, and I make images and bronzes of lots of things. But I've done these big bronzes of a redemptive hug of someone being held, and their arms are hanging, and it's like the prodigal embrace of a pretty useless form who's actually kind of at the end, and yet is being held. And I think from that, if the legacy is that the statement that actually in our weakness and our fear and stumbling and screwing up and passion, that underneath it we are the undergirding arm of the loving God is there, then if I can even be a fraction of the legacy that suggests that, then I'll be a freaking happy kid.
Sometimes you feel like a fraud.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people feel like...
Well, yeah. You know, you're always expecting the call from someone going, you know, your number's up, son. We know who you are. It's all a load of shit. Or you're a total fraud, and people know now, you know. And I guess everybody's a fraud. We all put out what we're not and pretend and stuff. And I guess that's the game of life. But in a sense, it's a bit of a waste of life. Yeah. And to have the guts to be truly who you are and not have to fake anything is a pretty scary place. But maybe that's one of the fingers in the glove, you know, just to say, up yours, and this is me, and just fill the glass.
Yeah.
Smell
in this one.
God, yeah, this is me, man. You know, this is it. And, you know, and not have to perform to anyone other than no one, actually, just to live truly who you really are and shamelessly.
I think most people are feeling like a fraud.
Yeah.
And it's like, is that a thing to overcome? Is it going to always be with you? Just like, oh, someone could say something.
I think
and just tear down my whole wall.
Yeah. I think to accept that you're a fraud is probably the first step. You know.
That's awesome.
Isn't it? Just to accept it. You know. Okay. Yeah, I'm myself a fraud. Mm-hmm. And yet I haven't met anyone who isn't, frankly.
Yeah.
So we're all on the same fraudulent steam train.
Yeah.
And so just accept the fact that you're a fraud, and kind of accepting it is a kind of freedom from it in a way, because that's the way out of it, I guess, is to know that you are, and to enjoy the little bits of yourself where you're actually being true, and maybe those bits will grow, you know,
That's good.
And you're not frightened of them, and actually the ugliest bits, when you talk about them, actually gets better and better, and people like honesty, and it's kind of novel in a culture that's scared of being.
Here I am.
Yeah, you know.
And I mean, you're saying, the pursuit of the unseen, unknown God.
Yeah.
Right now, what do you feel like? Kind of, what's your feeling about God?
Well, I've gone from an atheism to theism to hatred of God to needing God, to wanting God, to actually loving God. And right now where I am is in a very slow place where I think you get caught up. If you are in a religious context, then sometimes you're carried along and buoyed along by the energy of the other people. But I think with God, I've discovered that you need to be at your own pace and just find integrity on an hourly basis, however ugly it looks, and be as real as you can. And if you can believe that in that reality there is God, intertwined God with reality rather than an escape from reality, which religion often is, but intertwine him with honesty, integrity, and pull him in and say, here I am, and he's right there, and whatever it is you're doing, whatever the hell it is you're up to. And I think step by step, the railway sleepers on the track, the undergrowth's there, but the undergrowth comes away, but it's not on a steam train, it's a very slow, sleeper by sleeper, but each step is real, and you don't fake anything. And I love the fact that you can go slow and fuck up and be known in spite of it. It's so cool. And I think the center of that actually is Jesus, and I think he takes it on and listens, and at the risk of sounding really trite, and you know, it always can sound trite, I think, religious statements, but at the end of the day, I think to have that grace through this extraordinary death of this person, this cross, and to be accepted with all your shit and be loved and known is kind of really where it's at. And if I could leave a legacy that suggests anything along those lines, I'd die. Well, I'd die, wouldn't I? But I'd die, feeling relieved that I could have been a part of the solution and not the problem, maybe.